Okay, so at an IB World School at the elementary level, we have 6 transdisciplinary themes. As you can see, this teacher has some of them up on her wall. So this is where we start when we are creating our guaranteed and viable curriculum. We start with the transdisciplinary theme. Right now, we have a 4th grade team collaboratively planning and talking together about their current unit of inquiry, which is the theme, How the World Works. So you can take a look at our framework. We have a template that we use for each of our units of inquiry that we start with our theme, and then we analyze and look through our standards for science, social studies, health, English language arts, math, and then we decide how we're going to take those standards and make them work within that theme to be transdisciplinary. So you can see in this planner template, we have our standards documented. And then we really take a look holistically at that big theme, how the world works, and we go into the theme's descriptor, the natural world and its laws, and then we create as teachers a big idea that we really want the kids to be able to understand. And this one is called the central idea. Force generates change impacting the planet. And then we go deeper and start to think more about what is it we really want the kids to know, and we call those lines of inquiry. So you can see those are our 3 lines of inquiry there. And we also discuss and decide what we want the kids to be able to do. And in IB, those are called our approaches to learning. And we also have something called the learner profile, which we think about what we want our kids to aspire to be. 10 attributes that we really want them to work on to be really good humans and internationally minded people. So that's really how we set up our viable and guaranteed curriculum. And then I'll just let the ladies share a couple of thoughts that they have as we collaborate together. What's your favorite part of our IB planners and units?
Teamwork. In the area when we talk about what the teacher's going to do and what the students are going to do, that it's very explicit. It lays it out. It's not just like, here's a standard and you guys have to do something to address the standard. It's, you know, we're going to do this specific activity. This is what the kids are going to be doing. It's what it should look like. So it's, you know, accessible. You can assess what they're doing. And it has a standard aligned to it so that we know we're trying to hit the standards that we're supposed to be teaching in 4th grade.
And that's box 4 in our planner, which always starts with a question. And that one is, how might we best learn, or how best might we learn? Anything else you ladies like about the structure?
I just like the collaboration point of it when we're all working together and more brains are working at the same time, and it just helps to have other people to talk to about it.
Yep. Any thoughts from Mrs. Zigas? What about action or agency? So when we have all of this, that we're thinking about what we want them to know and be able to do what's next.
Robin had a student in her class, a novel that we're reading that goes along with the unit. It's about Hurricane Katrina, and in the story, the girl's grandmother passes away during the event, and it was very intense in class, a lot of crying. There was a lot of, you know, we've had some kids who've recently lost grandparents, so it was really hard. And one of Robin's students came to school, and the outfit was a little, like, when you look at it, you're kind of like, maybe something a 4th grader would wear typically. And when Robin looked into it a little further, it's actually things that were her grandmother's. It was a pair of her grandmother's leggings and her t-shirt. And it's a way that this little girl feels much closer to her grandmother. And so it was, to me, that's like the perfect form of agency.
Yeah,
that you're.
I do like that they can make connections.
Definitely.
And we do that. We try to do that every day. That this isn't just a theoretical idea that erosion is happening or that our planet, you know, is shifting and changing. That it's happening every day. The kids come in and talk about events that they've heard about on the news. You know, even though it's not a force that we deal with, but all the wildfires that are occurring out in California right now are definitely reshaping Earth's surface. And the kids have been talking about that a lot because it's very concerning to them when they see that people are to leave their homes. And so there's a lot going on. There's a big weather system coming up through on the East Coast again that somebody brought up the other day during class.
So these ladies take their standards, but they also relate them to other subjects. So it's not just about science. They bring in current events. They take what they're reading in the classroom and connect it. And like Robin said, there's a lot of connections that are being made. And we just don't want the kids to understand and do. We want them to go further with their learning.
But also asking questions along the way.
Right.
And I think that our planner allows for the flexibility that we design some, but then the students also help shift the thinking based on their needs.
because it always every year goes off somewhere off the rails a little from what we planned.
Right.
And then we meet weekly and with you and separately as a team, and that's when we go, okay, so one of mine brought this up. What do we
Let's
like?
talk
How can
about
we?
that.
Did anybody else come up with that? Do we want to try and do something to address it all of us or what?
For reflection, we can see where we went wrong or things we did right.
And that's the
Change
part
it
that
for
I
next
like.
meeting.
I like the reflection at the end of the unit where we say we met these standards or we didn't meet the standards and how can we do it better. So it's a constant reflection.
That sounds like a great closing. Why don't you zoom in on your dirt, speaking of force, and we can close the video looking at a real experiment. Thank you, everybody.